Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between, after an off week for the 4th of July, well, it actually just kind of entire week, not even weekend, because, that was before 4th of July. We are back for more ARC racing action. The ARC Indycar Championship takes us to Road America, my home circuit, the only racetrack I've actually been to in real life. Because Brainerd hardly counts, that's more of a Drake strip. But, yeah, I watched a NASCAR race here in real life. Which is ironic that it's my home track and it's the only one I've been to, because honestly, I don't like driving on it all that much. But I don't have to. That's everybody else's job today. But I still know the track pretty well as a result of this being the only thing I've actually seen in person, so... however, I watched a NASCAR race, not IndyCar. Obviously a very different beast. As we cross into the end of the first half of the IndyCar season, this is round 8 out of 17. Nickel has a pit lane violation. Oops. Yeah, after an off week, I have felt a little more motivated. I kind of had a bit of time to not toil away at just talking, screaming into the void, as AJ worded it in pre-race party chat. Oh boy. There's a mosquito flying in my room, which is probably going to suck a bit of the excitement out of me, quite literally. Nobody likes those. Why do they exist? They exist to spite humanity. Let us actually ride on board here with... not Travis, because he's slowing down. Let's ride on board with DIVEBOMB as he begins the first timed lap of the session. Laps here run probably in the minute 45 range, I figure, if you are good at the video game. Those are some long gears. Into turn 1, it's not much of a braking zone. This is going to be a sketchy first corner in IndyCar. In an IndyCar. Down the hill, turn 2 is basically a corner. Turn 3, mind that curb, because all of the curbs on this track, honest to God, none of them are pleasant. Under the Sargento Bridge, which is funny, because, that's a brand I'm familiar with. Down the hill into the heaviest braking zone on the circuit, I believe it's turn 4. Up to Corvette Corner, which is another relatively heavy braking zone, but it's not a passing zone. It's the Blind Apex. This corner is flat. The next one is not. This is probably the second best overtaking point on the track, if you ask me. Either that or it's Canada Corner. The carousel, which should be flat for anybody if they have even a half-decent setup, and so of course it is completely flat for Mr. Bam. So that little kink does count. Oh. They said 4 in the NASCAR broadcast. Anyway, the kink is flat out in IndyCar, that's no question. Then we get to Canada Corner. This is where I sat and I went to the NASCAR race. And that's the final passing zone on the circuit, unless you get really brave into this final turn. And even then, it's not the best, because you may as well just wait for turn 1, or better yet, turn 5. And that is a lap of Road America, and it seemed pretty decent, so we'll see what it is from Dylan. A 44.3. Yeah, I was pretty accurate when I said it was going to be a 45. I knew there were 14 corners, but for some reason I thought that there was a bit of a kink somewhere else that counted. Because that kind of makes sense, because I knew Canada Corner was 11. And you have that little gentle right into a left, and then the last turn. Anyway. He is so far the only fast lap. I don't think that 58 is quite representative from his teammate. There's another one. Jurgensmeyer with a 45.9, over a second and a half off of Dylan Bam. Kyle Boggs is mowing a bit of the lawn. Jackson Tate with a 50.5. It's not great. AJ Knickel splits the difference between Juergensmeyer and Dylan Bam with a 45.2. And he mows a bit of the grass himself. Who else is close to wrapping up a lap? Honestly, nobody. Everybody's in Sector 2 at the moment, pretty much. Boggs gets out of the way of the 19 of Scarborough. And around goes the 21, Matthew Daly. He has looped it, heading up towards the carousel. Through the kink for the 19. Everybody seems to have this really stretched out sixth gear, and I imagine what that is because of potential slipstream during the race. There's probably a lot of people banking on that, especially when you head down the long straights going towards turns 1 and 5, and even Canada Corner to a certain extent, if you can survive the kink in dirty air, which is not easy. Scarborough crosses, he will run a 46.7. Just over 100th off of Matthew Stotts, who also completed his first lap in the background. Neither one of them really particularly impressive, all things considered. And Stotts is not currently improving either. Travis is in the back stretch. Who's that car heading up the hill? That's somebody who's already made a lap. Juergensmeyer. And that was an outlap anyway, so... That cough's not fun. Who's that going up the hill? That's somebody else who's already done a lap. Is that Dylan? No. Who? That is Jackson Tate, and I think that was also an outlap. Okay, great. Is anybody actually on a lap, like, or close to finishing one? Probably the second I look away from the leaderboard. But Fabian runs a 48.8. Quite a field spread. Admittedly, I'm not super surprised. The track as long as Road America is going to kind of introduce that. Oops, I just spit all over myself. Forgot to swallow. I don't think the stream needed to hear that, me. Just kind of staring daggers at the leaderboard on the side because I'm for some reason, having a difficult time keeping up with who's where on the racetrack. Travis runs a 49.2. Mosquito. Sean Cassane was on an outlap, and that's quite a top speed I just saw there, 185. As a reminder, you can't even use push to pass in qualifying either, so that is just the sheer top speed of that 11 car on its current setup. And he's going to make the same top speed into turn 5. That car seems to be a bit of a dragster, but I wonder if it's not going to buzz the limiter in draft. That seems like it may be a potential issue for Sean Cassane if he's not conscious of it. Jams down the gears, heading towards the corner before the carousel. I guess it'll be turn 8. He cannot take it flat. AJ Knickel has had a mechanical fault. Explanation? Yep, that'll do it. Missing tire. Why is he still on the racetrack? My guy, it's qualifying. I had no idea that would say that down there, but yeah, that is in fact that is definitely a fault of some kind. Who just ran a lap? Matthew Daly just ran a 46.2 at the last bit of qualifying here. He's going to be the last person to finish his lap. Sean is going to be the first person to finish his session. And that lap time is going to be a 47.3. I believe somewhere along the way, yeah, there were times that improved. Dylan upped the NED to a 44.28. And Jurg managed to 45.1. But that might be some of the last competitive laps we see as Matthew Stotts gets to turn 5's exit many different ways incorrectly. Yeah, Kyler Boggs is not under his own power. Julian Lozano is one of 2 remaining vehicles that have not made a lap yet, him and Andrew Davis. Okay, he's also just not on a lap either, so... I believe it is just Matthew Daly and Fidel Fabian that are currently on laps that are of any use, because, yep, Kyler Boggs, I already looked at you. Yeah, it's just, they're all in a line here. Stotts, Fidel, and Daly, because I had to, like, remind myself mid-sentence there are 2 Matthews in this conversation. Fidel, Matthew, and Matthew. Fidel is the first of the 3 to cross the start-finish line. Let's see if he can make any improvement. He will get 8th place over Jackson Tate otherwise. I believe he has actually improved himself to lagging out of the session. Matthew Stotts jumps over Matthew Daly, only to get jumped back over. And Fidel has indeed disconnected. That's probably going to be a reset to pick him back up because, well, we can't have a Project Cars 2 race without a lobby reset, I'm sure. At least I assume. I don't see anybody leaving. In case, I will at least run down the grid order, pretend that Fidel is just kind of sitting between Boggs and Tate. Dylan Bam on pole, next to Jonathan Juergensmeyer, Matthew Daly, AJ Knickel, who got demoted a place because of his pit lane violation, Matthew Stotts, Jake Scarborough, Sean Cassane, Kyler Boggs, why his car jump, Jackson Tate, Travis Van Oostendorp, Logan Cool, Julian Lozano, and Andrew Davis, the latter 2 of which did not set qualifying laps. And either they are deliberating what to do, or we are not resetting the game. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and guess we are. Right away with the Rikerisms. I did get through. I did. Yep, it's all gone downhill. Mental reset. Windows shutdown sound effect, something. I don't know. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, we are going green right here, right now. The red lights, they're invisible, hang on. The red lights are now green, and we are away. From Road America, Dylan Bam gets quite a launch, but Juergensmeyer has the better gear ratios, it would seem. There's big contact in the back. Huge contact. Kyler Boggs and another car is sent spiraling off into the sand trap, as I believe Kyler Boggs made a move to cover somebody off, and was unclear, but Juergensmeyer is the race leader heading down through turn 3. But Dylan Bam is obviously not done. I mean, obviously not. We got 28 laps of this. Too wide down into turn 5. As one of our iRacing drivers looking to remind me, and Jurg gives Dylan a bit of a squeeze. He re-enters the racetrack. AJ Kaneko is pretty much right there on those weird-looking skyscraper rear wings. I will never understand them. And AJ Kaneko, this is not helping him much as he enters a spin cycle, heading down the hill towards 8. That literally looked like he hit a Mario Kart banana peel, I'm not gonna lie. But Jurg leads us through the end of Sector 2 here, doing BAM in close proximity. But everybody else is a decent ways back. Scarborough is trying to find a move on Travis Van Oostendorp. That'll head towards Canada Corner. But Scarborough's momentum is insufficient. What's not insufficient back here was, I believe, Jackson Tate just overtook Sean Kassane. Maybe. Or maybe I was just seeing things the other way around. I don't know. Kind of a little bit off at Canada, but, that doesn't make any sense. We have Andrew Davis around at Canada Corner, and Kyler Boggs is struggling to keep his destroyed vehicle on the racetrack. Same with Julian Lozano. Too wide again into turn 1, and Jurgensmeyer is just not even going to try that. It's only lap 2. So Dylan Bam reclaims his race lead. And that battle, as brief as it may have been, allowed Stotts, the two Matthews, never mind, Stotts missed turn 2. Or is not, no, that's 3, there's a downhill kink there. I would bring up a track map, but I already have the stream up on my tablet to make sure that it's running properly, so I can't do that. Now, Dylan missed turn 5 on exit, so Jurgensmeyer will again take the lead, and again Dylan Bam will have to work to get it back. This is like, just like, not charades. Did Kyler not pit? Kyler Boggs did not pit, in spite of missing half of his wing and probably having a good chunk of suspension damage, but he remains on the racetrack. Daly, I just noticed, got a slingshot from heck out of that kink. He's going to have a run on Dylan Bam heading towards Canada Corner. Doesn't quite have a wing in it, though, so he will have to just wait for another opportunity. But with how close these three have raced, he'll get one. I'm fairly certain. But now Dylan Bam is looking for an opportunity of his own, as he's going to pick up some slipstream off of Jurgensmeyer right there. Jurg puts himself in the middle of the racetrack. Bam almost to the pit wall to get alongside the 18 car, but clears before we even hit the brakes for turn 1. So let's check in the mid-pack here. The field beyond, like, 6th place is pretty spread out. AJ Kaneko attempts to recover from his banana peel incident going on lap 1. And he's caught the back of the battle that was happening between Scarborough and Van Oostendorp. And, well, we'll just see how this transpires. Because I think you and I both know that these two have had a couple of run-ins thus far. Something has happened back here. And I think it might have just been a really good corner, as, apparently AJ is now ahead of the 19. That must have literally happened in like the 4 seconds I was looking back at the leaders. So AJ gets back into the top 5, but loops it again going through the carousel, makes some contact with Scarborough. AJ's setup is not having any of him right now. That car is just... did he get on the off-road tires? Because that thing is all over the road, and that is a caution. I believe because that would have been a multi-car incident since it collected Jake, not to mention the myriad of other spins we have had already in the race. Pits might be open here. Oh, no, that would be why. Matthew Stotts' car is destroyed there, as it is missing a rear wheel, I believe. Yeah, sure is. I don't really know how he lost a rear wheel. but I'm gonna spare your eardrums and go back to trackside camera. I don't think he will be able to climb that hill without four wheels. I just don't think he'll be able to. I believe that is Matthew Stotts' race over. I would look at the championship implications behind that, but SLP on mobile is kind of wacky right now and won't let me do that. It'll just tell me page not found. So, unless somebody with a computer or something can look for me, I am too broke to have even a laptop, so... I mean, obviously it's not good for his point situation. It never is good to DNF. But the implications behind it, I don't actually know where he is in points. I haven't been able to look at the points in Indycar since about race 2. So, kinda sad, but, it's honestly not that different from how my old commentary style used to be. I used to just treat each race as an individual occurrence. That every race was its own separate journey, or something or other. And as a result, would just kinda be indifferent on point standings. But nowadays, as championship battles get even more and more intense with every passing season, as Logan Cool is allowed to pass to fix his destroyed car, he must have gotten damage under the caution from whoever was near him, which I believe would have been either Boggs or Lozano. And when that happens, you are allowed to, assuming it isn't your fault, go around ahead of the field and pit. So long as you rejoin... I don't remember if it's an EOL or if it's rejoin where you were. Which for Logan really isn't that much of a difference because he was in that lap 1 madness. So, that's going into this race. So Stotts was... excuse me. Got a cough there. So Stotts was relatively in the battle. Thank you, Jamie, for the compensation. So Stotts was close to the points leader, who is currently Van Oostendorp, who's having an okay day thus far. Better than Jake, which was crucial for him, and Gabe Zilla did not show up to this race. I believe that is his first missed race of the season. Stotts was 4th in points, 36 back from Travis. But that is going to take an absolute devastating blow. Didn't get the mute for that one, my bad. That is a devastating blow to all of that, as he's going to be coming away from this race with a DNF and 13th place points. Not much compared to, everybody else around him. Travis, Jake, Gabe, Dylan, and Jurg, and AJ are all within, what's the number? 68 points. AJ's at 181, Travis at 249. I don't remember how much you get for a win in this series. I think it's 50. No, that doesn't make any sense, because we've had 7 races. Actually, that does make sense. I'm pretty sure that's how many you get in real life for a win. It's 50 points. I never really inquired on point standings, even when I was a driver. Because most of the time, I wasn't super close to earning a championship. Oh, that's a brave decision there. Who is that? Scarborough, I believe. I should recognize that car, you'd think, by now. As Logan Cool leaves the session. Not exactly sure why. May not have been by his design, or perhaps it was just a game crash or something, because goodness knows the game ain't perfect. Okay, so I was right. 50, 40... Again, thank you, Jamie, for not being an idiot, unlike myself, because I don't know much about IndyCar. I could tell you F1 points all day, but unfortunately, this isn't that. So, yeah, that's, previously, Dylan was on course for 50 points. That would have probably given him, well, not quite the points lead, but it would have put him right in the battle. Jake is now the one getting 50 points, which would obviously give him the points lead. He's only 9 back from Travis. He wins the race, doesn't matter what Travis does. That's either points lead or tie. And that's assuming he doesn't just come in second. Oh, the engine blew. Oof. Technical difficulties for the 22 team. I had to tell myself that that's not the, to remind myself it's not the NASCAR. That's what my brain pictured when I said the 22 team. No, it may be a Pennzoil car, and it may be 22, but it's not Joey Logano. Inches from the pit box. Unfortunately, unlike real life, the game cannot just slightly move your car a few feet to the right and just repair damage. Although I imagine fixing a blown engine would probably take a while, but clearly whatever caused you to pit there must have hit you like a torpedo. Or, yeah, no, a literal torpedo. Like, just got battleshipped. Like, C7 hit. Does Battleship even have... Yeah, it does. I think it's 10 wide. Man, cautions are really long at this track. I'm sitting here talking about Battleship because this caution flag has been 3 laps for about a solid 10 minutes. Yeah, C4 hit. Sunk your destroyer. That doesn't make any sense. God darn it. Sunk your aircraft carrier. That's the one. Ties in awfully well with our NFR sponsor in Super GT, though, I guess. So Azure Lane just battleship the anime. There should be like a... Actually, there was a movie about the game. Or was that not related? I don't even know. I never watched it. Anyway, there's racing to be done shortly. As I believe we should be green this time. There's absolutely no reason not to be. And Skylar Boggs is, albeit a lap down, at the back of the train. Everybody is attempting to warm the tires. Turn 1 is not a corner you want cold tires for, as it is high speed. You don't really want cold tires for any corner, but if there was any corner you didn't want them for, it's definitely turn 1. It feels not super bunched up, though. Usually it's like literally nose to tail. But Jake Scarborough floors the gas. Andrew Davis isn't even close to him. And that's before we hit the gas. And we are green once more from... Actually, yeah, Elkhart Lake. I caught myself mid-sentence for remembering that that's also what you can call it. Elkhart Lake. It's just the city. The town that Road America is in. I can assure you, it's a town. It's not a city. Dylan Bam moves into second place off the restart as Andrew Davis has disappeared. Where? He spun. Alright. I was like, where did he go? Entity missing. I saw someone upstairs. I did not. Nah. Man of the people, Juergensmeyer has missed turn 5, and that has allowed Jackson Tate to sneak on through into the top 3, and then immediately lose control through Corvette Corner. So Dylan Bam is up to second place off the restart, already hounding Jake Scarborough. And despite missing turn 5, Juergensmeyer is in third place still. AJ Knickel is basically about to climb his rear wing, him being Sean Cassane, as he makes a smooth overtake through the carousel. Sean Cassane might have that top speed that we saw in qualifying, and that's going to come into play towards Canada, but it's going to hurt him in corners. Obviously, that is how downforce works. Matthew Daly tried to sneak a move, but he didn't find it. You've also seen plenty of top speed from Dylan Bam, and I'm sure we're going to see a little bit more of that as we head back onto the front straightaway once more. Not even a push to pass from either driver, actually. But Dylan Bam, nonetheless, is closing rapidly on that 19. He's buzzing the limiter, though. It's not enough in a straight line. Thought I saw a crash up here somehow, and I was very confused for about half a second. Kassane and Davis pit. I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, I know Andrews pit because he spun out. I don't know why Sean is, though. Dylan's gears are just not long enough, just barely not long enough, and Jake is able to outbrake into turn 5 and hang on to the lead. Dylan's going to have to get a little bit more creative here, as Jake just has the longer gear ratios. Dylan Bam's car has like the perfect gear ratios for a qualifying lap, but when it comes to making an overtake on the racetrack, doesn't seem to have enough. I feel he might find himself in a bit of a Jackson Turner situation, if you recall the Freedom 75 at all. He has the speed to overtake in corners and everywhere else, but in the top ranges of a gear, just buzzes the limiter a second too early. Oh, but Scarborough's missed Canada corner, and Dylan needs no further invitation. So Dylan, for the 4th time, has made an overtake for the lead. It's quite an impressive number since we're only about to complete lap 7 of 28. Also a slightly depressing number if you really sit there and think about it, that he's lost and reclaimed the lead that many times. Let's go a little further back in the pack. I'd call that a battle. AJ Knickel has caught Juergensmeyer for the podium position, or the last podium position. Tiny bit of slipstream, but doesn't seem like it'll be enough. My mom plays Jenga in the background. Mind that. Definitely gets to him in the corners, though. Just more cornering speed. However, also more oversteer, as we've already seen occur twice with AJ Knickel today. He's spun the car more than once. Yes, that is what twice means. Also, Jake Scarborough has disappeared. I didn't even see that. He is now back in 5th. Presumably some kind of spin, trying to keep up with Dylan Bam, but that's just a tall order for anybody. Huge run from the kink. Here comes AJ Knickel on his former Rallycross teammate. And that's about as simple as it can really get around here. Makes the apex of 11. And he'll probably be on his merry way to try and at least get within the same time zone as Dylan. Well, it's going to make it a lot easier when we have a caution for absolute destruction out of the kink. Matthew Daly is he missing multiple tires? Yes. He's missing both right sides. That's another DNF. This time the kink claims a victim, and Kyler Boggs just plays pinball with his front wing. Just literally chucked his front wing back at him. And the field that was once 14 cars has been culled to a mere 10. And we're only at 1/3 race distance. This is going to be a race of attrition, something's telling me. By that same progress, we're probably going to finish this race with 5 cars. I don't think we'll continue that ratio. And obviously, the more drivers DNF, the more raw talent the field remaining has. Kyler Boggs is getting his lap back after one incident's put him one down. I guess Andrew did not read the caution part. In this particular case, it kind of is a good thing that the track is so long. It means that there isn't very much risk of us getting through pit stops and everything before Kyler and Lozano catch back up to the field. So we can probably go, we can almost definitely, I don't even know what I'm saying probably, we can go green on lap numbers, lap 11 going into 12, I believe. No, 10 going into 11. So we'll pit on this one, 9 into 10, drive around the track again, and go green starting 11. I know how to math good. Very. I guess some drivers have their rain lights on, others don't. Dylan's are off, but AJ's are on. Jerg's are off, but Jake's are on. Tate's is off. Pretty sure I just saw Travis's was on. Can't tell. Okay, no, it's off. And this is, I think, everybody else's. But, AJ and Jake are just kind of funny that way, and they have theirs turned on despite the fact that it literally couldn't be any less rainy on the track. It's literally, like, partly cloudy, I think. See who bites into pit road. Jurgensmeyer fakes. Jake does a little dance, but he pits. So it seems the only two that will be staying out will be Dylan and Jurg, our front row sitters of the race. And Jurg sees fit to reenact that, I guess. Just messing with Dylan, maybe. But everybody else elects to pit in. Suppose, looking at the amount of fuel in Dylan's car, and well, I mean, I guess I can't really tell tire compound, but I'm certain that despite that appearance, he is on the blacks, you know, the primary tires, and can probably go to the end from here. And I'm sure everybody who's pit just now is probably planning the same. Just my guess, anyway. Glanced in messenger chat to see Matthew's thoughts. A little disappointed in the game. And there's your one shout out, Matthew. You're not getting 10. Drivers have to be on the track to get shout outs. With this one exception. As interesting things took place in the pit stops. Joey Lozano emerged fourth when he entered the pits, I believe in like 9th or 10th. Mosquito. the whole field is present, so we will be green heading out of lap 10 here. Whenever we get to the final corner. And whenever I stop randomly coughing due to asthma, very cool. I suppose too the reason why Jurgen Bam didn't pit, probably because of track position. With how many crashes we've had this far, being in the front and being able to avoid the chaos is probably better in the long term, because you get stuck back there once and sometimes you just can't escape. I've certainly been there once or twice. I think everybody has in this league once or twice. And Bam floors it as his early as convenience as what? And we are green again. AJ Knickel with a huge launch. Actually, I think it was just Jurg with a bad launch. He's under threat from both him and from Lozano heading towards T1. AJ will clear with ease. Lozano makes big contact and oh, that's a double takedown. That's been an absolute disaster class from the DHL car. Vehicles are scattered everywhere. I think every car outside of the top three just got absolutely demolished by that contact. And unsurprisingly, that's another safety car. Just a notable lapse in judgment there from the DHL car. Looks like he might have made it, Dreamy. I think he has. But that crash collected half of the field. And Julian Lozano is still struggling to keep that thing in a straight line, as it was already missing its rear wing. Now we'll also take the front wing off. Maybe that'll be a counterbalance, and you'll be able to drive the car around the racetrack. Wishful thinking. It's basically an oval kit with no suspension, and I'd be very surprised if he doesn't lose a wheel during all this. Honestly, though, losing a wheel might make it easier to drive. By the looks of it. Yeah, this might take a minute to get back to pit road, folks. I suppose it makes sense that the reason the crash happened, the driver responsible, is the one that gets damaged the most from it. And, yeah. I was about to say no. Actually, Jurgensmeyer, his idea didn't work because, well, he hit and he was pretty much, he didn't cause it. He was actually not really involved in it, but he lost places from it. He was involved in it. He was. It wasn't his fault. He was the instrument, I guess. He was the catalyst. Julian made a late turn and just like slightly smacked into him a little bit, and that created destruction. Well, if the top six are, of course, Dylan isn't, never mind. Everybody else starts into the pits. So Dylan Van will be the only car staying out on this occasion. I can largely assure you nobody else will be staying out. I know this car won't be. That was a reset, but I don't really know. Yeah, we need that board. No, don't worry too much. He's just giving up. Even though he was one corner away from pit road, he is. Retired the car. Would have looked less bad if he just did that from the beginning, instead of pretending to drive it around for 10 minutes. Yeah, you disconnect, but I know what that actually was. Well, our open wheel ballet has concluded, and now we are down to just 9 cars. Travis's pit crew definitely did the work there. They got him up to P2 right behind Dylan Bam. AJ's mowing a bit of grass. Just a little bit. He got his left wing in the grass. Probably use a front wing as a lawnmower, honestly. Car moves fast enough, sharp enough. I mean, there are cars out there, like production models, with front splitters and canards that are so sharp that they're actually considered unsafe for public roads, despite being road-going cars. That's why the Camaro Z01 1LE is illegal in America, despite being made by an American company, and was going to be mostly probably produced for the American public. You can't drive it on city streets because the front splitter and the canards in the front are so sharp and dangerous that they could actually just straight up just call a pedestrian if they hit them hard enough. I feel like if you're going fast enough to kill them by cutting them open with the aero parts, though, you're also probably going fast enough to kill them by hitting them with the car. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. I also probably feel like it's not very fun to try and drive near sidewalks and curbs, though, so maybe that's part of the consideration as well. I don't know. I'm not exactly part of the legislature that decided that, so... Travis, we're not doubling up. Stop doing that. But Dylan Bam isn't even being possessive. He's like, personal space! That's not from the arc this corner. What is it? We will be green once more this time, and hopefully we get to, turn 3 before we have a disaster class. According to Logan in the Discord, he took his tape from 35 to 55, thinking Wisconsin wouldn't be hotter than the desert. As somebody who went there in 2021 and it was 98 degrees out, it can be. Just believe me, it can be. And what else can be is green, as this race is about to be in about... right... now. Dylan hung on pretty much until we crossed the start-finish line. We had to crest the hill, and that gave Kyler Boggs a huge advantage. He jumps to second place. Travis was not ready. Dylan Bam makes an ugly defense as he takes the racing line, and we will not get to turn 3 either. And that is not a yellow flag, despite that being a 2-car crash. As Asia Kaneko walks away with the lead, about 1.1 in hand. Travis probably still a little bit disoriented by all of that, as he was nearly ensnared in that. Dylan is still running 7th. After just absent-mindedly chopping Kyler Boggs. Kyler, on the other hand, is missing half an Indycar, pretty much. Can't wait to see the discourse in the Discord for that one later. That sounds dumb. Discourse in the Discord. Disgusting. Let's see. Jurgensmeyer is catching Andrew Davis pretty rapidly. I have a feeling he'll dispose of him probably into turn 1. He won't be close enough into Canada, though. I even became Canadian to add to the dramatic effect. Kassane just screeches ahead of Scarborough into Canada corner, eh? I'll stop. Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Well, Drew didn't really get a great run out of the final turn in comparison to Andrew. Andrew might actually be closing in on Travis here, ironically. Never mind, I see the problem. He's on default setup. His top speed is like 20 miles an hour lower than the rest of the field. It'll be stable, which Sean could probably have used a little bit of stability there as he goes right off the track and just kisses the tire wall. And he will just let Dylan Bam go through. Andrew Davis spun on the exit of turn 3. And that will give Dylan Bam an opportunity into turn 5, which he will capitalize on with ease. A little bit of oversteer out of 5 though, which doesn't really invite much, if anything, for the 83 car, but it doesn't help, as the 83 car has actually just invited himself into the grass. Sean Cassane must have some pretty bad damage, as he just gets out of Andrew and Jake's way. And Scarborough's right up to the back of Davis himself now. Andrew finds a bit of grass, but he has enough acceleration to escape Jake's clutches for the moment. Dylan Bam catching up to Juergensmeyer again. It feels like this is probably at least the 4th time that he's looking to pass the 18 car. Travis Van Oostendorp will also be involved. And AJ Knickel has made off like a bandit. Ran a 47.9. That's not super far off what we were seeing from qualifying. Dylan Bam matches, but he's got a little ways to go to get up to Knickel. AJ could certainly use a race like this at the moment. She's not going to get much on Travis, but a race win is a race win. And when you are 68 points out of the points lead, you kind of want those, obviously. Once again, it doesn't matter. Oh, that's exit momentum. My god, Dylan was not ready. Jurg probably wasn't either. And sneaks through Corvette corner. Dylan Bam back into the podium positions. And his next target will be the 10 of Van Oostendorp, heading down towards the carousel area. Oh, too wide into the kink, that's, yeah, no. Never a great idea. Excuse me. And Dylan does not remain there at all. There's a part of me think it'd be funny if Dylan wrecked Travis, if only to see Jamie in the chat immediately say Dylan Bam L after typing Dylan Bam W earlier. Around the outside of the final corner, no L's here. You don't see that every day. That was crazy. But Travis has so much more speed, and a push to pass, I believe, was also used. So all of that, and Travis just takes second place back immediately anyway. He goes defensive into turn 3. And then slides back to the racing line after realizing that he is still clear. But Dylan got a mighty exit from 3. Yeah, 3. I'm Irish now. No. Dylan can't make up any ground on those straightaways. His gears are not long enough. He can make up ground on corner exits though. He's done that every single time. But not enough. Ugh, that throttle modulation. Oh my god. I almost forgot to mention, this is the first race of the season. A rule addendum was introduced via a mod vote. Yeah, the other. When was the vote, me? A few days ago, that determined that stability control would be disabled for future Project Cars 2 and Gran Turismo 7 events. TC, ABS, and everything else are still enabled, but stability control no longer is, on account of the fact that it just kind of oversimplified things. It was impossible to spin unless you were literally trying to, or you hit like a literal oil slick. Part of me suspects that might be a reason for the increased number of spins and DNFs today. The likes of Matthew Daly, Matthew Stotts, and who else spun on their own accord? I don't really know every single individual incident, but I know for a fact those two spun unassisted, and I'm sure they would not have spun if they had stability control on. Travis is playing all of the defense. Dylan Bam is unable to conquer the 10 car at this moment. An extra 7 miles an hour down the straightaway is Travis's main assistant, and a good exit from 5 will keep the 2 car at bay. Oh, but an ugly Corvette corner will have the same downsides as through goes Dylan Bam into second place once again, and now it's time to surmount a 9-second gap in 11 laps. It doesn't quite matter, Jamie, because the battle has already been decided, and Dylan Bam is running away. He's already gained a second and change on Travis, and Travis himself will probably soon find himself under threat from Jurgensmeyer in the 18. No other 2 cars are really nearby each other, so we may as well just leave the camera here with the 18 as it attempts to catch Van Oostendorp. Unless Dylan really finds some speed and get up to AJ. For now, Jurg has gotten up to Travis. A really good run out of the last turn will enable that. Push to pass activated, probably from both drivers, indeed. Buzz the limiter. Travis's gear ratio just does not end. 192 into turn 1. Travis just handed Jonathan the L plus gear ratio. Not the best run from 3 for either car. However, 1 lap free from unleashed from Travis's rear bumper, and Dylan already ran a quicker lap than AJ did on the previous time around. 49 flat to AJ's 49.3. He's gonna have to find more time than that, but considering he's only a 10th off his personal best lap of the race, which, mind you, was a 48 flat, he's finding it. I have no doubt. That's a lapped car. That was really confusing. Then I remembered AJ's car is white, not blue. And there's another DNF. That one will be... Who was that? No such luck. No such help there. As long as we'll have to get out of the way for Dylan Bam in the near future before he slows down Dylan too much. In short term, though, I don't think Dylan's complaining too much, as he got some free slipstream off of the 21. Now, though, he definitely does have to get out of the way, because he's right there on his rear bumper. And he's losing time. I'm blind. What did I miss? How did it... No, wait. Force of habit. Sorry, I'm too used to seeing Dylan Bam be way ahead. He's actually just riding the train. He ran his best lap of the race just there, 47.8. Not quite the fastest lap. AJ had a 47.7 at some point. Now Kyler Boggs lets him go. Lets him buy and go at the same time. Gained 4 seconds on Knickel on that lap. Knickel himself had to go around the 11 of Hussein, which also probably cost him a tiny bit of time. But it seems it was only gains for the two, as he gained slipstream heading towards turns 11 and the first corner. Turn 11 and the first corner. It's getting away. I was doing pretty well with Rallycross, I like to think, this race, but suddenly my grasp on the English language has dissipated. Jurgensmeyer, while we were watching Dylan follow Kyler Boggs, Jurgensmeyer has claimed third place over Van Oostendorp. It was Jake Scarborough. He was the DNF from a few moments ago that I could not identify, but then I saw his name pop up in the little game chat, and that reminded me, oh, he's not in the race. He must have DNF'd. Impeccable logic from Riker, as always. If he is not in the race, then he is out of the race. Yes. Now he is entirely disconnected. Putting in this 2 laps of a lifetime thus far. Dylan Bam has reduced that lead on AJ. Or from... Words. Sean Cassane is going to overtake AJ Knickel. That is just how much top speed that 11 car has. But then he'll let him go again. I think he's just kind of messing with him at this point. But Dylan pits. He had all the pace in the world, but I think he just realized his mandatory didn't count because he pit on lap 3, not after lap 3. So, that late race drama has suddenly vanished. And although Jurgensmeyer is going faster than AJ, I don't know if it's by enough. That's a 9-second lead, or so, that Jurgensmeyer will have to attempt to eat into. And I think he probably has the net pace to do it. I just don't know if he has the time to. Although we do still have 8 laps and change, 8.5 laps essentially. So I can't say no just yet. I sat back in my chair and instantly yawned. Sean in the distance. Even in the races Matthew Daly started, he still finds a way to get a word of encouragement into the chat for Knickel. AJ answered there. He ran a 48.1 just there. Jurg manages a 49.6. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that is probably a wrap on that one, unless something really crazy happens. That's a racing line that I've ever seen. That's a new one from Jurgensmeyer just there. Now Dylan Bam can run all of the hot laps he wants to, but I get the sneaking suspicion the best he can really get now is P4. And he probably will get that. As Andrew Davis has not exactly shown the most pace today. He's just been kind of consistently in decent places, and I don't think he's been in many incidents other than like really early on when it doesn't matter so long as your car survives how many incidents you get involved in. It's like ARC NASCAR in that way, pretty much. Like, incidents progressively get less and less forgiving as the race gets closer to its conclusion. So you spin out and hit the wall in like lap 6. That's fine. I'll go a lap down, but you can recover from that. But if that happens with 6 to go, disconnect. You suck. Skill issue. So... I yawn, but AJ Knickel pits. Another shock pit stop being made. Can nobody's tires make the end? Beginning to question. Or was fuel the concern? No, because it would fuel to an even number of fuel, not 0.3. So with that, Jurgensmeyer is back in the race lead. And Dylan Bam will probably jump AJ in the pits with little issue. No, he won't, actually. He will be relatively close, though, as AJ is just now getting on the power to exit the pit lane, clear of the speed limits. Dylan Bam has just crossed the start-finish. Runs the fastest lap of the race, a 47.58. I said Dylan can run all of the hot laps he wants to, and he wants to. And he will. About 6 back from the Canadian driver, the one driver in the field that's not from America. And that's pretty often the case, honestly. I believe even at the start of this race, we had nobody outside of America, except for Knickel. I think. Let me go through my head. At least people living in America. Julian calls himself Mexican and Fidel calls himself Dominican, but they both live in America. So, immigration, go! Just noticed Sean has some kind of penalty. I think that was from like really early in the race, and I just now noticed it. So that's an L on my part. Bam is up 3/10. He's looking set to even further improve that fastest lap of the race. But it just doesn't matter. He's 30 seconds away from the race leader. Mind you, that used to be 40-something. About 44, I believe, when he came out of the pits. Mind you, that was also to AJ, who pit, and he's now 5 behind AJ. AJ, well, I guess a 207, yeah, because he pit. Dylan runs a 46.8. There are plenty of cars in this grid that wish they could have qualified with a lap like that. Laps like this are the kind of things you just gotta go on board to witness. You cannot grasp the true form of Dylan's attack otherwise. Dylan Bam is what I tend to call the glass cannon of arc. When he doesn't work, he really goes wrong. But when his setup and everything are in motion, he's probably the fastest ARC driver outside of F1. Because, I mean, the fastest driver we've had in ARC is definitely one Connor Stanek, who, in previous F1 games, would be routinely near the top of time trial leaderboards. But, for everything that isn't that, for PCARS 2, for GT7, and I believe he's pretty good in iRacing too. Dylan Bam is consistently one of the faster drivers in ARC. When he's not spinning out. Andrew Davis has to pit. I'm guessing tires are definitely a problem, and I can kind of imagine why. There's a lot of medium to high speed corners here. It doesn't seem like it, but this is a fast corner. And corners like turn 6, carousel, kink, the last corner, those are just eating away at your left front rubber. Jackson Tate disconnects from the race, so we are now down to 7. If 2 people were on the track close enough to have a crash, they took each other out of the race, my earlier prediction, as a joke, of saying we'd finish with 5 cars would come true. And we got closer than I thought we would, because I said that completely in jest. And we we're going to end up not far from him. We're going to end up splitting the field in half as we are nearing the end of this Road America event. No, person, I do not wish to play F123. I am doing something else. I don't know why I verbally italicized something else, but here we are. Jurgensmeyer has to pit. And what is going on? Does nobody know how to save tires? Okay, so AJ Knickel will easily retake the race lead. The race is back on, ladies and gentlemen, because Dylan Bam is still cracking qualifying lap after qualifying lap here. That's a 47.5. That's actually slower than AJ's last lap, though, which was like 47.2, but we have maybe a bit of a race. AJ still got it safely in hand, but if he makes even a small mistake, Dylan Bam is gonna be in range. Well, I know what one interview question is gonna be. I need to figure out what the deal was with these late pit stops. Makes my life a little easier, as everybody knows how amazing I am at interview questions. Not really. Please help me. I like how in all of this, the two drivers that are technically closest together on the racetrack are Sean and Kyler. How? I mean, I guess actually no. Dylan just caught a lot through there. But like not enough, but it is still closer, but like it's about 5.5 seconds between Sean and Kyler. It is somewhere in the realm of 3.5 between AJ and Dylan. 47.7 from Knickel. My word, a 46.5. But Dylan Bam is using all of his push-to-passes. He's going to have none left when it comes to actually passing, if he even gets there. Which I guess that's the sunk cost fallacy. It doesn't matter how many push-to-pass uses you have left. If you never even catch Knickel in the first place, you can now see that silly rain light not too far off in the distance. If Dylan Bam had made his his sixth gear a click longer, he would probably have not had many problems winning this race. A bit of a revolving door. Yep, that's a new one. A revolving door of commenters throughout the race. Bit more interaction than we're used to seeing, although I sort of call upon it at certain points. But I mean, that's what an actual streamer would do, not a race broadcaster. We would try to get the people chatting a little bit involved in the race. It's a little hard to do when it's not like I'm sitting here, you know, oh, look at my hardcore Minecraft let's play. He's up by what? Dylan, stop. Dylan, this is illegal. Max Verstappen, but from the Dakotas. Like, what? Dylan Bam's driving skill is truly the only landmark in South Dakota. And I say this because I can say that because I border the state. I'm in Minnesota. There's not much more here either. We got the Mall of America, and we got snow. And we have sports teams, I guess. A 46.4. But it just doesn't matter. There's 2 laps to go. AJ has a 3-second lead. And while his laps aren't amazing, he's not making them that mistake that Dylan Bam needs to have a chance at this race. Meanwhile, the bottom 2 are also closing up to the point that Kyler Boggs has just overtaken Sean Kassane as he has DNF'd Basically, that's a missing tire. Yeah, he's gonna put that one away. What a great time to flick to that camera. Sean DNFs heading out of Corvette corner. A little too eager on the throttle, mayhaps. That was just comical. A little bit at Sean's expense, but it's just, you know. What comedy isn't at somebody else's expense? AJ he's a little frisky on that fuel load again. I'm pretty sure he's good. He's not going to Watkins Glen, but it's going to be awfully close. He's been using his push to passes too. Probably contributed to the fuel consumption that he has had. That means that he's out of defense, basically. And he probably can't push, he can't use that last one, I bet. But Dylan's got 17 liters in the tank. He's got more than enough fuel to use that last push to pass. The gap is within a second now, too. Waiting to see that blue bar tick away on Dylan Bam's HUD. AJ will have the baseline advantage in straight line speed when he's not using the push to pass. But AJ's fuel, he doesn't have enough. AJ is doomed to fail. We've just seen it repeat itself. He's drank 3 liters in the space from Canada corner to the Sargento Bridge. Dylan Bam, meanwhile, he's going to probably be able to actually just straight up outbrake AJ here if he's aware of his fuel saving. He's not. Oh, avoiding that. Oh, doesn't need to. There's a stalled car. That is Kyler Boggs, who is out of fuel. So I was right. We're going to have not even 5. No, we're going to have 4 cars cross the start-finish line. And Matthew, things aren't looking great for your boy. He's about to drink the last of his petroleum. He's going to run out and he can maybe coast across the line if he gets enough of an exit out of Canada. Dylan's going to go for the move on the racetrack. They make huge contact. AJ is out of the race. I don't even know why AJ even fought that. I also don't know why Dylan went for that. But that's going to put AJ in the DNF call. Oh my lord. AJ just decides he's going to try and move. There's nowhere to go, though. And AJ's just going to be stuck on the middle of the racetrack. Jurgensmeyer hopefully is made aware of this. He barely avoids. Dylan Bam is going to win this absolute race of Wisconsin attrition. Travis will, he'll be taking that with him. He'll be taking that with him as Jurgensmeyer heads through the final turn. It's as if nothing changed at all. The cars that started together on the front row will finish first and second. Jurgensmeyer crests the hill to grab a second place that he should never have had. Travis van Oostendorp will grab the final podium position as he summits the hill. Andrew Davis, honestly, in my mind, round of applause for kind of being the me of this race. He's not been fast. You can see his 52.3 on the lap times there. But he's brought that 83 machine home, and that's something that 10 people cannot say. As he crosses the line, AJ Knickel and Kyler Boggs are just left to sit there and question what just happened. I mean, I think AJ probably knows what just happened, but my God. So there are the final results for the 4 cars that have crossed the finish line, and the other 3 that were at least classified, as they at least did 25 laps before not finishing. This felt like equal parts motor race and comedy act, honestly. just waiting for our race winner to enter the interview area that doesn't actually exist. Just people joining the broadcaster party. Unless he just, for some reason, doesn't wish to speak. I guess I can close the stream and maybe ask about it myself. I'm being tagged.
Oh shit, I probably can't play that due to copyright reasons. It's bad.
There goes the session. That threw me off. I guess, while we wait for the question mark, we'll interview the two that have arrived, of Travis and Jurgensmeyer. I'm aware I go back and forth with saying first or last names, just forced to habit at this point. Oh, there's our native Boeing 737. So that has been definitely one of the races I've ever seen that looked kind of less like an IndyCar race and more like Twisted Metal. But third place goes to Travis Van Oostendorp. Matthew Daly is rioting in the stream chat right now, but he didn't, though. But yeah, third place, Travis. I mean, I guess, what was your thought going through, like, kind of the middle part of that race? Because you were just kind of in the monkey in the middle, you know? Like, you never really
drove around, really. I didn't really practice that much. I was dealing with something all day, mostly all week, so I haven't really been playing that much, or racing that much, so I didn't get any practice time. It kind of bit me in the ass, and I kind of just drove around in 7th for most of the race until all the carnage really started after really lap 1. Everybody just slowly started getting wrecked out or wrecking themselves, and pretty much just took advantage. Got up to 2nd there on a restart when Dylan kamikaze Kyler, and kind of just held off Jurg for a while until I let him by so I could try and see if I could make it to the end on fuel, and I couldn't save any fuel, and didn't really matter in the end. I just kind of got lucky, and now I'm interviewing with you here somehow.
And now here we are, and I guess that answers my other question there of all of the last second pit stops that everybody made that kind of threw a little bit of hysteria into what would have probably just been a routine run to the finish line F1 style, but then we moved to Jurgensmeyer, who started P2, finishes P2. How much through most of that race did you ever think you even, like, I mean, obviously you were trying to win the race, but did you really ever think you had it for Dylan, or were you just kind of hoping for mistakes from the 2-car?
I mean, usually I can't beat Dylan unless he gets wrecked or he spins himself. So, I mean, I fought him a little bit at the start for fun, but, I mean, at the end, just he got alongside me and I didn't really fight him. And then, you know, the rest of the race is just recovering to where I should have been after I got wrecked by Julian. But, I mean, I just wasn't as fast as Dylan, so I was never really going to fight him.
And then, I assume it was the same case with you. You didn't have enough fuel to cross, so you pit late like everybody else.
Yeah, I looked at trying to save, but that's just no one would have been able to do that. So I came in at the end and topped it off in pit.
I guess I never looked at the numerical of it, but then I watched AJ drink 3 liters on a saving lap And that's when I realized, these cars are thirsty, right? And there are at least 2 drivers on the racetrack that can attest to that fact. I mean, everybody can, because everybody had to make an unscheduled pit stop for fuel with less than 10 to go. But speaking of unscheduled, we move to our resident fighter jet in the background. Dylan Bam, our race winner for, what's this, the 54th time, I think? It's 50-something. But, I mean, I guess, just for the clarity's sake, I imagine that pit stop was not for tires, it was for fuel towards the end. You were the first person to do that.
No, I took tires. I mean, it would have ended up being like a second or half a second difference in the end, so I just took tires with it. It was almost a full tank. I put in like 60 liters, because that's what I felt comfortable with. So, yeah, the tires helped so much. They were so much better than the old ones.
Yeah, we can see that. You were running qualifying laps. Like, that was just something to watch there. But then, I mean, I think you probably know what's coming next with that pair of incidents you've had throughout the race. First, I imagine that restart incident with Boggs, that was probably just a late check of the mirrors and not expecting the run that car had going into one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I was like turning left or if Kyler set his car at an angle and turned in and he just veered into me. I don't know. I'd have to look. But yeah, it was kind of annoying. All the cars would flow down force because you know you're faster than them. You're like 2 seconds faster than them a lap. But on the straights, they just fly by you, and the dirty air is so bad. You're kind of just somewhat stuck behind them until they make a mistake or get on the button and pray that you can keep up with them enough on the straights to try and make a move. It's, yeah. And as for the one with AJ, he admitted that he turned in on me and not the other way around, so that one kind of resolved itself.
And it didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, because I think we both know now that he didn't have enough fuel to reach the line anyway. But were you aware of that going into the kink, that he was running out of fuel? Were there sort of in-race communications of him, like, giving any indication?
He had not mentioned that. He only mentioned that after the incident happened. So I probably wouldn't have chased that hard if I knew that. But hey, it probably made for something entertaining.
Yeah, it was certainly dramatic, because I thought that was, like, just a pointless crash, or probably wasn't even intentional, but AJ just trying to defend and see if he could keep you there, but, because obviously he could have just straight up said, and there would ever have been an incident in the first place, but instead of, possibly coasting across in 4th, AJ's DNF'd and given 5th, so, well, then again, no, because he had to brake for Canada. It's hard to... No, actually, no, he wouldn't have crossed. There's that giant hill there, so disregard that. But, yeah, that would be all of the interview questions I possess, so... I mean, I got 3 on one person. I think I'm doing well for myself there. But that will do it for the today's broadcast of the ARC Indycar Championship. SLP doesn't like me, so I can't look up what the next race is, but...
Daytona Oval, in 2 weeks.
Oh, so we got another week off. For having a week off. I'm sure you've been looking forward to that, that's probably why you remember it, but...
Not really. AJ said in the race like 3 times, so I remember.
Oh. I guess that explains why... I wouldn't know, because I'm not on the party chat, but, yeah, so Daytona Oval in 2 weeks, but before that will be, more broadcasts in the form of the ARC Indy Lights series, which heads to, I believe, also Road America later this week on Thursday. That is the Heat Cup series. That is the National Series. That is... There it is. Yes, it is the Elkhart Lake Grand Prix. It's Road America. I know darn well. That's Road America. Been there. Done that. That is on Thursday. F1 on Friday. No, there isn't. Never mind, I'm lying to you. But before we conclude the broadcasts, shout out to ARC's different sponsors. First of which being DIVEBOMB for handling most of the promotional stuff on pretty much every website that DIVEBOMB is a part of. To SLP for helping people that aren't myself because my tablet hates me. Organize, recruit for, and track stats of various leagues on various video games. Makes stat tracking and everything a lot easier for the ones who have to do that in ARC, so not me. It's a great site, I just don't know how to use it because I'm technologically about 17 years behind. I know how to use a video game console and that's about it. To Burning Rubber Podcasts, Jake Scarborough's own podcast that mostly interviews sort of up-and-coming talents in the American oval racing world, both on asphalt and dirt. To James McAdam, who allows ARC to use his own virtual photography and in-game screenshots for promotional material. And to AJ Kinnickle Design, a design firm run by our own league owner. He handles, for example, everything on the social media sites for ARC itself. But that is it for today. Thursday we'll be back with just slower Indy cars. And then, everything just kind of carries on from there. But until then, goodbye.